Have you ever thought about when things are really tough for you and how you have to persist and push through? Well, I want to share a story with you about when I was 11 years old and my childhood. I grew up on a farm in the Barossa Valley and my dad was always having a go. I was so proud of my dad. When I was 5 years old, he got a pilot's license and we flew around the country. And then in 1968, he decided to build a winery and he called it Carrawirra, Forest of Red Gum. It was just great, and I went to show and tell. I always had something to talk about my dad. He was just bigger than life to me. Loved him so much. Anyway, the only thing I didn't love about him was after school we had to go and work every night at the winery. And when I was 11 years old, my dad said, right, now you can stand on your own 2 feet. So this one night, I was up at the winery, and my job of a night time was to fork off the grapes. And there might have been 5 tonnes or 20 tonnes, but I had to fork them off into a hopper, and the crusher was working. A guy by the name of Tub worked the crusher. And so this one night I was up there, it would have been about 9, 10 o'clock, forking off the grapes, and my brother comes running out of the winery and he says, help, we need some help inside. We thought he was joking, so we didn't do anything. About 90 seconds later, he came out and he said, help, help, help. And so we ran inside after closing down all the equipment. And what we found was inside there are underground tanks. And when the wine ferments, the underground tanks are full of CO2. And my father was down in one of the tanks and he was lifting a guy by the name of Denny out of the tank. And the 3 of us, with Dad pushing from the tank to the bottom of the tank, we pulled him out and laid him on the cement. And then we went back to the tank, and just as Dad was coming up the ladder, he got overcome with the fumes and he collapsed. But we were lucky enough to hang on to his arms. So against our advice, my brother decides to go down into the tank to try and push him out because the 3 of us couldn't lift him. He went down in the tank and he had the good judgment to know he was getting overcome by the fumes as well. So he got out of the tank and he was unconscious on the floor as well. So that left us, Tub and me, holding my dad with his 2 arms. We knew we couldn't pull him out. We tried, we yelled out, Dad, 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 wake up, wake up. But we couldn't get him to wake up. So one of us had to go for help. So I said, well, I'll go. And I said, Tub, if you can hang on to him, I'll go for help. So Tub held on to him. And I went out, tried to start the ute. I couldn't get the ute started. So I came rushing back in and we held him for a while. We're yelling out, we're trying to wake him up. We couldn't wake him up because we knew if we dropped him, he would surely die. Tub said, Michael, can you hold him? I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. So I held on to my dad. And Tub had a abandoned motorbike. He said, I'll go to the neighbours. So there I was, in this big winery, alone with my dad, and I hear the abandoned motorbike take off into the darkness. And then it's dead silence. I'm yelling, Dad, wake up! Dad, wake up! And I'm holding on to him. My right arm was on his left arm, and my left arm was on his right arm. And just at that time, what happened was I had hold of his jumper, and his right arm slipped down, and so all I had hold of was his left arm. And I knew I had to hang on. I knew there was no way I could let him go, but he got heavy. I had to persist. I had to hang on. I was yelling out, Dad, wake up, wake up. And I don't know how long it was. It was probably 10, 15, 20 minutes. The sweetest sound I've ever heard was that abandoned motorbike coming back. Heard it faintly in the distance, and then it came back, pulled up. Tub came in and helped me hold Dad. And 5 minutes later, 2 adults came in, lifted him out of the tank, and Dad survived. I don't know how my life would have been today. I couldn't have lived with myself had I let my dad go. So the reason I share this story is that if you're ever in a situation where you feel like letting go, think of that 11-year-old boy that couldn't let go of his dad.